Perfect. Welcome everyone to the Town of Greater Napanee regular session of council for the 24th day of February 2026. Just before we call the meeting to order, just remind everyone here this evening that this evening's meeting is being live streamed via our YouTube channel. So welcome to the folks that are in the body of the council chambers. Welcome to the folks that are home watching this evening, and welcome to those that will watch us at a later date. So having said all that, we'll start this evening's meeting off with our opening proceedings, which is the national anthem. So I'll ask those that are in the body of the council chambers to stand and face the flag as we play the national anthem. Great. Thank you, everyone. We'll start this evening meeting off with our closed session rise and report. Look for motion to rise and report from closed session. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Norrie. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. I'd like to report this evening in closed session that council received for information the confidential SR-1236-2026 agreement legal advice, and further that council directs staff to proceed as directed by council. The second matter is confidential SR-1237-2026 litigation update that council received for information the confidential SR-1237-2026 litigation update report. Look for, we will need a mover and seconder. We'll do a motion for each one. So the first one with respect to 1236-2026, we'll do mover and seconder, Councillor Shank, Councillor Hicks. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And with respect to 1237-2026 litigation update, mover and a seconder, moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, second by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Also look for a motion for the adoption of the agenda for this evening as presented. Moved by Councillor Davey, seconded by Councillor Shank. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. We'll start this evening off with a public meeting under the authority of the Planning Act. We'll look for a motion to convene a public meeting. Moved by Councillor Davey, seconded by Councillor Shank. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? The motion's carried. Mr. Nanton, welcome. When you get settled in there, we'll give you the opportunity to speak. And we'll also ask, is there anyone in the body of the council chambers to speak with respect to the matters that are in this evening's public meeting? Seeing none at this point, Mr. Nanton, when you're ready, the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to Council. So this evening, I'm going to provide a brief presentation for the town-initiated housekeeping amendment to the zoning bylaw. This was also captured through the staff report, which is item 10.6 in the council agenda. So there's no presentation slides to provide for this application. The reason being the application's technical in nature, which I'll speak to as opposed to a site-specific development proposal. So the application PLZACO 2026-004 was submitted by the town with the intent to permit the use of a data processing center within the general industrial zone, that being the M2 zone, as well as establish a definition of this zone in the zoning bylaw. So town staff, in accordance with provincial direction to support the growth of data center sector in the province, which is part of a larger integrated energy plan, town staff moved to investigate the town's ability to host these uses within the town. What we identified was there was no clear definition of this use in the zoning bylaw, and there wasn't a real designated zone category for the use. What this brought about, and as reviewed against the applicable planning framework, we saw that the general industrial zone was the appropriate zone category to consider this use and bring forward through the zoning amendment. So that use in the general industrial zone, so just to provide context, so general industrial zone looks after light industrial uses such as manufacturing, fabrication, laboratory and research facilities, as well as telecommunication towers. We thought this use appropriately aligns with the intent for uses within the M2 zone. The intent of the application is also to apply to, throughout the entirety of the municipality in the town, so as opposed to site specific. None of the provisions of the M2 zone with respect to, lot coverage, setbacks, building heights are intended to be revised. So if any application came forward seeking relief, that would be a full Planning Act application process, full public engagement notification. Really the intent here is just to permit the additional use and then establish the definition. Just to speak to site plan control requirements as well. So we did receive public comments. 2 sets were attached to the agenda of the staff report later in the council agenda, which outlined some concerns for the application. These concerns related to matters such as, noise, potential servicing constraints, emergency provisions, the impact on the town, the rural landscape and character. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but these are concerns that staff are aware of that are in the community. Permitting these uses within the M2 zone doesn't permit the establishment and operation of a data center anywhere that has an M2 zone. They're going to be subject to site plan control and detailed technical review prior to any establishment or operations. So that means that execute a site plan agreement and full regulatory compliance with respect to noise, odors and emissions, servicing reports, the like. So this is considered to be a technical amendment in that regard. I'm available for any questions or comments. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Nanton. We'll start with council. Is there any questions or comments of Mr. Nanton with respect to his report or the presentation we've heard here this evening? Deputy Mayor Gower.
Yeah, so just to be clear, none of these lands are in like the downtown area or residential area. It's all in the industrial park. Is that correct?
Thank you for your question and comment through you. I'm not going to be able to verify if there are no properties that are already zoned M2, kind of near the downtown center. But what I can say is that, say, an urban lot in the downtown center that benefited from M2 zoning would be very unlikely to be able to be established as a data processing center just by virtue of the technical grounds they're going to have to clear with separations, noise and emissions. The nature of the business is going to be situated north of the 401 in the industrial area of town.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Gower. Thank you, Mr. Nanton. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we'll ask again, is there any one in the body of the council chambers that would speak for or against this application? Seeing none. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nanton. If there's nothing further and there's nothing further for council, we'll look for a resolution to adjourn the public meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? The motion's carried. Next up, we have scheduled deputations, new items, and we do have a deputation from Lindsay Nash from Quinte Conservation. I know Lindsay's here, so come on up, Lindsay. And once you get settled in there, we have some new microphones there, and I know you have a presentation for us as well. The microphone, you just have to push the button and then you walk away from it. As long as the light's on, then people at home can hear you. So I'm not sure whether the light is on there now, but if it is, you'll be live and everybody will hear you. And when you're done talking, you can turn it off or just not say anything. So welcome, and away you go. Yeah, it's not so much for us, it's for the folks at home.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Welcome. And whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so my name is Lindsay Nash. I am the Outreach and Stewardship Coordinator at Quinte Conservation. I'm here today to seek council support to be the lead applicant in the Green Municipal Fund Growing Canada's Community Canopy Grant. I'm going to refer to this as the GMF-GCC Fund. So Quinte Conservation, alongside the Quinte Urban Forest Network, are proposing to be the lead applicant for this fund. This provides our 18 member municipalities with the option to leverage funding and staff support for planting projects, both existing and proposed, as long as the trees are not planted by the time we get the funds. As the lead, Quinte Conservation will focus on planting native species and a diverse range of native species. So there's a wide range of eligible projects that could qualify for this fund, as long as the trees are long-term and permanent forestry intention and can include street tree planting, urban planting, park tree planting, riparian planting, forest restoration, and reforestation on both public or private lands. So projects that are not eligible would be transitioning healthy wetland or grassland ecosystems into forests, and that's because they're already functioning and natural and healthy on their own. The focus would be on disturbed areas, specifically urban areas, and the projects also have a maintenance plan, must have a maintenance plan and survival assessment report following each project. So that means the community trees giveaway that Quinte Conservation facilitates may not be eligible for that. So here's my plan. February 2026, I'm going to all of our Quinte Conservation's member municipality councils to obtain their support for Quinte Conservation to be the lead. Now, this is important because even if we don't engage with your municipal staff or municipal programs or budgets or whatever you have going on, by providing Quinte Conservation with a letter of support, which there was an example in the end of the appendix that I shared in the really long package that I sent you guys. The last page has an example resolution letter, and by providing that, it actually unlocks the funds for other groups and residents in this area to apply for the fund with Quinte Conservation. So an example would be the Lennox and Addington Stewardship Council. We could work together on a project that would be planted in the town of Greater Napanee by providing us support. So by the end of March, I'm going to have a deadline for the municipalities to get back to me with project participation and a general outline of what they want to do. We're going to do a call to the public and a screening application for other groups who want to get involved, like the stewardship councils, Rotary, Scouts, schools, churches, private landowners, and all that. So we're looking around the end of March to get back to us, which gives me a little bit of time to pull all of our projects together and formally apply for the application with a urban forestry grant coach and have it signed by a professional forester. So there's about a 6 to 8 month waiting period after applying for the grant, which puts us at planting either late fall 2026 or spring 2027. Now, after we receive the funds, we have up to 2 years to spend them. So pressure's off a little bit. And then we'll look at maintaining and monitoring the trees for a minimum of a year. So Quinte Conservation's expectations in working with municipal partners and private interest groups would be a letter of support from council, which is what I'm seeking tonight. A financial contribution of 50%, which I'll get into in a little bit. A tree planting budget with the source of funding identified. Identification of existing and proposed programs if you wish to engage any municipal tree planting programs. And then if possible, if you could identify sites where an increase in tree canopy would be beneficial, either on private or public lands, or if you have any data or current canopy studies to support or identify the need for trees. Those last 2 points there are helpful but not mandatory. That information, I realize some municipalities have more of that information than others. That would just go to make our application stronger. So in exchange, Quinte Conservation will coordinate the administrative and logistical aspects of the application. We will assist with leveraging additional funding where possible. We've already received some donations and haven't even applied yet, which is great. We will act as a liaison between municipalities, local interest groups, and the funders, and we will be submitting the final reporting. So it is a 50% match cost share program. The minimum project cost is $50,000. Now, typically, this would be where many local groups and municipalities are stumped because they don't have $50,000 for tree planting. So that would be the benefit of grouping all of our municipalities and groups together to meet that threshold, which I'm confident that if we can all work together, that shouldn't be a problem. And when I talked to the funders, they did want me to let you know that there is a maximum lifetime cap of $10 million for your municipality. So half the budget would be covered by the GMF fund, and the other half could come from your municipal budget, private interest groups, other fundraising or grants, as long as they are not the 2 Billion Trees program, because that is, or as long as they're not sourced from the 2 Billion Trees program, because that's the source of the funding for this. And then if you have a cost share for Trees Canada, we would have to check in with them where that source is coming from as well. But it's not an automatic no. So what we're looking to do is to increase municipal tree planting budgets or tree planting budgets of private interest groups, not replace them. So if you have $5,000, we're looking to make that $10,000, not bring it down to $2,500 to make $5,000. So, and then your proposed projects cannot be part of any legal tree planting requirements. So if you have any sort of bylaws that say if you cut down so many trees, you have to plant so many trees, that wouldn't be eligible either. We're trying to generate new projects. So there's many great reasons to plant trees. Implementing a watershed-wide tree planting initiative through different levels of partnership creates capacity for the community to work together while supporting climate resilience close to home. The benefits of planting trees support climate resiliency through flood retention, which is really why Quinte Conservation loves planting trees. We're always concerned about flooding. Trees also reduce carbon dioxide from the air and produce oxygen, which is good for physical health. Trees reduce heat island effects in urban areas and cool buildings in the summer with shade, as well as provide a windbreak to buildings in the winter. Improved mental health can be seen through connection with nature, and diverse native tree species promote healthy soils and habitat for a wide range of insects, birds, and mammals that are specific to our area. And this aligns well with Quinte Conservation's vision to advance watershed knowledge and collective actions to strengthen our natural ecosystems. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and I have my contact information on the slide over there.
Great, just hang tight, Lindsay. We'll see if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Lindsay with respect to the report that's in front of us or the presentation that she has done? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Shank.
Could you tell me $50,000, how many trees that buys you?
It depends on the size of trees and what other things that, it would depend on a lot of factors.
Like are you paying retail for a large maple tree? Like, would it be like 30 or 50 or 150 or $200 a tree? Is that, I'm just trying to think of how many trees is $50,000, or is it all going to go for engineers and studies and everything else?
We're not applying for studies through this grant. There is a separate studies grant, which your council could pursue on their own, but we wouldn't be able to do that on your behalf.
Great, thanks, Councillor Shank. Go ahead, Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, through you, your worship. Thank you for the presentation, Lindsay. So you do a bare root tree program as well. So you'll supply trees to partner municipalities through Quinte Conservation, the same as Cataraqui does, et cetera. Okay, so my question is, now I'm just throwing this out there as an example. We're working on an in-town trail system. And currently the in-town portion that was an abandoned or old rail bed, it's just nothing but gravel and ties. There's no trees or anything there. If we were looking to have trees there, this would fall into that, and they would be not bare root, but saplings. Is that what we're talking about? We can apply for that type of tree, like maple trees, oak trees, native trees to the area.
Whatever size would be appropriate for the site is what you would put in the application. So if you're thinking a variety of sizes of caliper trees and bare root trees and potted stock, like that's what we would ask for. So it's not specific to the size of the tree. And that's really specific, those details. All I'm looking for tonight is a letter of support, and then we can talk about those smaller details over the next couple months.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Councillor Hicks. Is there anything else for Lindsay? No, seeing none. Thanks, Lindsay. As usual, like I say, we normally won't make any decisions tonight with these presentations, but we do have the ability to ask staff to come back with a report at a later date. And I think, Madam Clerk, how long do you think it would take to? I know we're on a timeline that you need something by the end of March, so we'll make sure we get something come back for the end of March. But and we'll ask staff to bring a report back as to, you know, if we're going to invest in this, you know, where's the money going to come from, and as well as the letter of support with the resolution. So, Madam Clerk, can we have this for the first meeting in March? I guess we got not a whole lot of choice, do we? Yeah. Okay, so we'll get you an answer. I think it's March 10th. We'll get you an answer by March 10th, and we'll have staff, and I'm sure staff is probably going to reach out to you and try and you know, get some more information if they need some information, and then just give us the nuts and bolts as to what we would need to do if we're going to support the application. But thank you so much for coming, and thank you for doing your presentation, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. And to be clear, we're not necessarily, the letter of support doesn't need to come with any financial support if you choose not to. But thank you.
Yep,
for
perfect.
having
That's helpful information. So I thank you, and so look for a motion from council to note and receive, and for staff to bring back a report. Moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Davey. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next up, we have a deputation, Tammy Giles. So come on up, Tammy, and group. Yep, bring everybody. Welcome, Tammy, and what we'll do, and I think I know everybody, but we need to get everybody introduced for the record for Madam Clerk. Welcome, Tammy.
You bet.
And as you saw, that if the light's on in front of the microphone,
Yes.
it's live. So if you don't want people to hear, just hit the button. But welcome, and
Thank you.
we'll give the floor to you, and you can introduce everybody or provide the names for Madam Clerk, and then the floor is yours.
Very good. So green is on. Yes, I can hear myself. So good evening, and thank you all very much for providing time in your very busy agenda to listen to our presentation tonight. A very small group of us are here tonight. We probably could have filled the banquet hall 10 times over, but we know that you're on the same page as we are. And so at this point, you'll see later on in the presentation, different user groups that we could have brought to the table. But for now, you will see myself, Tammy Giles, Connie McGarvey, and Bill Castleman, who have put the ideas that you're going to see tonight onto paper. There were a couple other people who could not join us as well. So with no further ado, we'll begin. I really don't think you're going to hear anything that we say in the next 10 minutes that you haven't already heard before. In your mission statement, you state that you want us to be an active, vibrant community that everyone thrives in. As a staff, you've stated that you want to identify new opportunities and to address the gaps that are currently in our community in your strategic plan. As a council, you have stated that you want to foster a vibrant, safe community that promotes healthy, active living. Our role as the community is to support you in doing those things, and that's why we're here tonight. We want to help you reach those goals. We know we can do this. 25 years ago, actually, in this very room, a very small group of us came forward to suggest that we needed a new arena. 25 years later, we're still using that arena. We were very successful in our fundraising efforts in the community, and it is obviously a success out there right now. What we would like to do, as it states on our title page, is make Napanee greater by extending that facility so that there is more opportunity for the peoples in our town. So as your logo has stated, you want people to live here. We've got a population that's growing rapidly. You want people to work here. We have businesses new to the area and coming more and more all the time. And we want people to be able to play here. And I think that is an excellent segue into the rest of our presentation. So I'm going to turn it to Connie right now. Did you catch that? Sorry.
So our vision closely aligns with the current recreational master plan. We feel the optimal location would be to upgrade the Best and Bash facility on the south end. Location, administration, staffing, parking is already there. Sorry, you can't hear me. I'm sorry. My bad. And though we are advocating and promoting a multipurpose venue, we are also going to acknowledge that pickleball is a thriving activity to both the east and the west of us. For example, the Pickleplex in Belleville, the Dome out on Highway 15, the Gardner's Road, Kingston Racket Club facility, and most recently the fairgrounds that has opened in the Cataraqui Mall. They are all standalone pickleball activities except for the Dome, which incorporates a few other activities. And they are all returning profits. Next.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's been a while since I've done this.
So current trends promote healthy active habits, trends in court-based sports, basketball, volleyball gaining in popularity among youth. Pickleball is a growing sport among adults and seniors worldwide. Multi-purpose courts for multi-use play, increasing the demand for self-organized sports, soccer, basketball, volleyball, ball hockey, pickleball. And access to school-based facilities for public use has become limited. And we are throwing in here obesity in general. All age groups is on the rise, and a need to encourage more physical activity. Our community is growing exponentially. Society is promoting healthy, active lifestyles for all age groups. Currently, we have limited resources to accommodate the needs of our community in regards to the current activity trends.
So we did a little homework and we looked at some of our statistical neighbors, comparing the size of the municipalities, the rural urban populations within those municipalities, and very close, sorry. very close to home. We have, and I may go off the slides here, forgive me. There's 3 that we're going to talk about. One being right next door in Trent Hills Municipality. They've just put up a state-of-the-art field house that accommodates a lot of different sports, walking tracks. They've got gyms, they've got golf, and we're not suggesting that we would do all that at once, but we're just saying our neighbors have this going on for them in a municipality that's actually smaller than ours. And it's located up in Hastings. If anybody wants to go on a little road trip, we would be happy to join. Also down in close to Ottawa in the Russell area, they have also just put up a beautiful facility, multi-venue for their community. Again, not similar in size to us, where they've got tracks, they've got turfs, they've got multi-sports, they've got even conference rooms. And then in the Kempville area, also similar to our size, they are in the process of building a multi-purpose venue. And again, a very similar sized municipality to us. So we think we can do this too. If our statistical neighbors can, so can we.
So the why. You can see, we've highlighted a few items of why we feel it's necessary. Current facilities do not allow our community to offer a variety of activities and events on a year-round basis. To attract families to the community, we must endeavor to provide more options to engage all age groups in healthy, active lifestyles. We are currently losing people to other communities that offer activities that we are unable to.
So why now? Again, and we keep beating this point to death, but we live in a society where healthy, active living is really important for a lot of different reasons. We have a community currently in a little bit of a crisis with homelessness, with substance abuse, with, with crime happening all around us. What we would really like to see is our youth getting involved in activities from day one when they're able to, activities that are actually affordable. We know that our area has been famous and have won lots of trophies in hockey and baseball. And that's wonderful. And those sports need to continue, but they're not always affordable for the average family. If you've traveled with rep hockey, which I know people in the room that have, or baseball, you know it can be a very expensive sport. But if we can get kids out on soccer turfs or court activities, then we can hopefully keep them active and out of trouble and off the streets in their future. We also know currently that the gymnasium use in schools, which I'm totally supporting, I'm not knocking it, is being used for school activities, and that's what they should be used for. But as a result of that, the community have very little access to those gyms anymore. And so places like Napanee softball that have used it for training can no longer use it. There's a huge youth basketball program that are outgrowing the space. Even the night program that Karen Mills runs at the high school, her time is becoming very limited. And so she can't offer the same sports and activities that she's been able to in the past. So again, another reason why we need to look at putting something up to support ages 0 to 9 in a variety of different activities. As well, we have an aging population. Because we endeavor to be more healthy and more active, people are living longer, like the man sitting here who's been active all his life. So he's our protege, so to speak.
I'm one of the younger ones.
So we want to keep our seniors active as well and not be socially isolated in our community. So let's offer them something to get out and do every day. I'm just going to leave that there. Why not?
So an ideal facility could include walking track, courts for all the court sports. They're listed: turfs for soccer, golf, baseball, rugby, football, field hockey, storage area, bleachers, lockers, change rooms, and a reception area. I like to think walk in through the front doors of the Best and Bash Center, hang a left past AM Sports, Diamond Fitness, the Home Hardware Ice Pad, the physiotherapy offices, exit down through that south doorway into a multi-purpose venue on the south lawn that has hard courts, a turf surface, bleachers, all the storage area, and a walking track where we can gather all age groups socially, have fun, cheer, and laugh as we engage in healthy activities.
I don't need to read all these groups to you, but what I can tell you is, and I wasn't going to mention the fire, but I'm going to mention the fire. We were very fortunate to be able to use the old arena for pickleball, for cadets, for archery, there were several things going on there that no longer can use that big space. And so groups have had to find alternative homes. And I applaud the town 100% because when that fire occurred, the town met with us the next day to say, how are we helping? And so they relocated all of the groups that were using the old arena into different homes. And so we've been able to continue our activities in somewhat limited capacities. These are all different potential user groups above and beyond the ones that were in the old arena that call the Best and Bash asking for space. Some of the ones that I'm going to highlight, things like school board conferences. They don't have large facilities to be able to host all of their teachers in one place any longer. We have places like community living who could really use more physical activity and make use of venues. I'm not going to list them all. You know, there are people out there that will use a facility like this, and those are just a few of the user groups. So, as they say, build it and they will come. This isn't a $10 million adventure. There's been research done. Actually, Dad did a lot of the research when the arena burnt because we actually thought maybe they might rebuild. And so there's some financial figures out there, and it's not a big adventure. And if I can take us back 25 years when council and staff said, go ahead, start fundraising for the new arena. And they said to the fundraising committee, you're responsible for $400,000. We're talking 25 years ago. And the fundraising committee raised 1.2 or 1.4, something like that. So in today's standards, that's probably a lot of money. And if given the go-ahead and we got some fundraising groups together, we certainly could put together more than $1 million. I'll leave it at that. It's time. We need a space that can meet the needs of all the people in our community from 0 to 99. We need to remain active, to be healthy, to keep people out of our hospitals, to keep people off our streets. I think the rest has been mentioned, and so I'm going to close it at that. Sorry, I missed the slide again.
That's okay. We were at it anyways, Tammy. We were at it. So I think you've got to the end of your presentation then?
Yes.
Perfect. Just hang tight. We'll see if council has any questions for any
For
of you.
sure.
So council, does anybody have any questions with respect to the presentation of of Tammy and Connie and Bill and, or the information that's in front of us this evening. I'll go to Councillor Hicks and I'll go to Councillor Shank.
Thank you through you, Your Worship. First of all, I apologize for having to leave, but I
No
thought
worries.
better I cough out there than in here. So when you mentioned fundraising, and I have sort of a vague recollection of the fundraising that went on for the arena, but I know it was pretty impressive. Have you already got people on board, lined up and ready to go? Like based on the presentation that you gave tonight, have you got people that are sort of waiting by the phone for you to say, yep?
There are a
good to go"?
few. There
Okay.
could be a whole lot more.
Okay.
And I appreciate your question. The problem is if you start getting people excited about something and then all of a sudden somebody says, no, we can't do that, then you have a bit of a problem. But if I can go back to the arena fundraiser for a minute, we were talking about just ice use. So we had at that time minor hockey, the Crunch, the Rep, the Raiders, like it was all ice hockey, men's hockey. This would entail so many more groups. So and we have businesses in this town, shall I say politely, that would really like to make friends with people in the town that probably would make some significant donations as well.
I don't need a magnifying glass to read between lines, so we'll leave that at that.
Great, thanks,
Thank
Councillor
you.
Hicks. Councillor Shank.
Well, like anything, we're gonna have to have planning, all right? So this is the first step of many, and we're gonna have a report back that'll come back later. The concept sounds great, you know what I mean? Do I like a dome personally? No. You're gonna have repairs, you have a lot of other problems. I mean, Councillor Davey has a lot more knowledge of that than I do, but it's like putting up a coverall shelter, you're gonna have to replace that fabric over time. A hard structure, I would be much more in favor of, you know what I mean? But what are those costs? What are the plans? What is the other thing? So I will wait until, the town comes back with to say what it is, what figures are we talking, like just ballpark right now, you know what I mean? And we've already set our budget for this year. So all I'm saying is we can start in baby steps and get all the plans in place. So then if we say yes, then you can recruit all your friends and fundraisers and everything else, because there's nothing worse than getting a horse in a race and saying, well, stop before, exactly what you said, Tammy. So,
Yeah.
I think that's the correct approach to go. And Mr. Mayor, I imagine you'll say something too.
Yep, I will. I'll canvass and see if anybody else has anything to say. Thank you, folks. And if you didn't mention the arena burning down, I was going to anyway. So I think the lesson that we learned with that tragedy that happened in this community is that our community needs a big open wide space. We've been able to sort of band-aid the situation temporarily as best we can. I mean, we're using a banquet hall as a pickleball court during wintertime, which I know probably isn't exactly perfect. It gets us to where we need to be, but it's not the ideal situation. If you spend any time at the rink, you'll see many, many seniors that are actually going up to the rink and walking around and using the arena as a facility, a walking facility. So I think the community is probably screaming out saying, listen, we need a big open facility to grow in the direction that we want to grow in. And your list is very exhaustive. And there are many folks on there that will use facility, and there's more that we probably haven't thought of. It probably could be used for trade shows and things like that, right? So, and I know that there's many more out there that I probably haven't thought of. So I think it's a marvelous idea. And as Councillor Shank said, we need to start somewhere. And I think this is probably a good place to start. So I like the idea. I think it's a great idea. There's going to be some planning involvement, some fundraising, putting groups together and things like that. But again, we got to start somewhere. And right now is probably the best place to start. So thank you for floating the idea by us. Thank you for bringing it to us. And I would ask that we'll do a motion to note and receive and instruct staff to bring back a report. And I'm sure that staff will reach out to you folks. I know that they probably have your contact information, but they'll reach out to you folks to get some ideas and maybe some thoughts on how we can move forward. But I think it's a marvelous idea. I think it's well needed within our community. Like I say, a big open space for that will serve ultimately everybody in this community, you know. It's hard to argue with that. So thank you again. And
Thank you.
if there's nothing else out of what I've said, then thanks, and we'll look for a motion to don't receive and instruct staff to bring back a report regarding the proposal for further consideration. Moved by Councillor Norrie, second by Deputy Mayor Calver. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks again, and well, I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Next up on our agenda, we have deputations with respect to items on the agenda, and we have Mr. Tony Balasavage. Come on up, Tony. I know that I know you know I can't remember whether you had the new microphones the last time you were here, but these microphones you don't have to hold the button down. So if the light's on, you're live, and if you want to turn the microphone off, then you just hit the button. It'll turn it off. So welcome, and whenever you're ready, the floor will be yours.
Is that better? Sorry. Do I start over again or? Okay. Loyalists, okay, Loyalist restricts only bush, not leaves, which confirms which I confirmed with their bylaw officer. In fact, I could not find a single neighboring municipality, including Kingston or Belleville, that imposes any cap on leaf collection. Greater Napanee has a wide range of lot sizes and tree densities. A uniform cap disproportionately affects rural wards and large tree cover properties. For many properties, the proposed limit is simply unworkable. The restriction represents roughly the leaves from 2 mature trees. My property has 22. This would cut my pickup eligibility by more than 80%. I do not see why the town is adding new projects like in-town trail development, but cutting everyday services people count on, like leaf and yard waste collection. I urge council not to adopt this provision. Currently, untagged garbage is simply left at the curb. The draft bylaw introduces a new $75 fine for setting out waste without a bag tag, but does not explain how this will be enforced. Will untagged waste be left uncollected? Will it be collected and fined, or both? This is a major policy shift, yet neither the staff report nor the bylaw provides clarity. Without clear direction, residents will face inconsistent enforcement and confusion. Item 1 in Schedule E sets out a $150 fine for setting waste not as provided for by this bylaw, making it a broad catch-all fine for all provisions within the overall bylaw. If we look at Section 222 again, we know the town has created a $75 fine for missing bag tags. However, all remaining items within this section, like placement or weight, fall under Item 1. This means a 1-inch placement error, highlighted in the green, will now be fined twice as much as intentionally avoiding paying a $4 bag tag. This is unreasonable and disproportionate outcome. Section 229 introduces fines for producing and using counterfeit tags. While the $1,000 fine for creating fake tags targets intentional offenders, the $250 fine for using a counterfeit tag does not distinguish between someone knowingly using a fake tag and someone unknowingly receiving one. As written, the bylaw penalizes residents even if they acted in good faith. This is not reasonable. If the provision remains, it should apply only to those who knowingly use counterfeit tags. Many of these provisions make little sense within the context of the special garbage levy. Since the bylaw was last updated in 2006, the town has taken over positive control of the production, payment, and distribution of bag tags directly to residents. Under this system, the town has a record of who has paid. As such, missing tags are far more likely to be caused by weather or oversight than fraud. Counterfeit tags make little economic sense because residents receive tags directly from the town. So there is no real profit to be had within the remaining small circulation pool. The bylaw should reflect this reality rather than assuming residents are trying to cheat a system the town has already ensured they have to pay extra for. Given the significant policy changes and issues within the draft, I ask that council refer it back to staff with direction to remove the leaf and yard waste limit, clarify enforcement of untagged garbage, adjust fines to ensure proportionality and fairness, eliminate overly broad provisions and powers of discretion for enforcement, add intent requirements to the counterfeit tag selection if it is not to be removed. In summary, the solid waste bylaw was created to increase the efficiency of the waste management system, not as a new revenue stream. While it is reasonable for the town to establish bylaws that protect its interest, the current approach places an undue share of responsibility onto homeowners. As written, the bylaw introduces obligations that may be difficult for residents to meet. A more collaborative framework, one that treats residents as partners in the town's waste management system, would better support shared goals and reduce the risk of unintended burdens. Within this context, I would recommend that a solid waste committee be part of future bylaw reviews in order to find a better balance between enforcement and partnership. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Tony. Just hang tight and we'll see if council has any questions. Council, do you have any questions with respect to Mr. Belasavich's presentation or the information that's in front of us? And I know that, Tony, you'd sent some extra information that we've all had an opportunity to read as well.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
in the interest of time, we've had to stay there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Calver.
Thank you, through your worship. So one of your concerns is the size of leaf collection that's been imposed on the rural residents. What do you think would be an okay size? It would be, well, like I live out in the country too, and I've got a a pile of trees. I could fill a tandem 2-3 times out of leaves out of my yard, but that's why I opt out to burn them. I just wonder what you would consider would be reasonable.
I don't think that there's really need to put a set limit. I do understand that the system has to work within some terms of efficiency. What I would suggest is that limit stay there, but not as a limit, as an indicator. So if a homeowner is going to produce more than that they call the town and say, all right, I'm going to produce this much. And so that the town is prepared to, when they go out to a particular residence, to find a certain amount there. The problem in terms of efficiencies is that trucks go out, they fill up, they come to a place that just down from mine has 140 bags, and they don't have the capacity to handle it. So if residents were told, listen, if you go beyond this amount, then we would like to know, and that'll give us an opportunity for better planning. But I haven't seen any other municipality that has any limits. So, I know, is that good?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Calver. Is there anything else, any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Shank.
No, this question is first of all, Councilor Martin or Bill, did Waste Management already, or did Waste Committee look at this bylaw in its place already? All right. So they haven't looked at it, but the problem is what all I can say is that anytime you have a bylaws in place, it's because there's been people abusing it. All right.
Absolutely.
And there's been people that have gone ahead and cleaned their whole yard, and you have town staff a half a day cleaning out somebody's yard, somebody cutting a willow tree down and exceeding what they could possibly do. So Andrew is trying to find a happy medium here. Is every town staff going to look at how many trucks you're going to bring in leaf garbage? No, we don't have that. But the point at the same time is we have to have something in place, as you said, for planning to how to mitigate those ones that are abusing it. People that are counterfeiting the bag tags, you know what I mean? Why they're doing that when you're getting free bag tags alone, I have no idea. But all I'm saying is if there's people doing it, that we have to have something in place to do it, you know, and Waste Committee is going to be reviewing this also. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, I understand the concern. So with regard to the counterfeit tag, I get that. The problem is that you take your average house owner and he gets hit with he or she gets hit with a fine for counterfeiting. That's a significant stigma. So the process in place, the reason why the wording is such is simply so that if somebody is found with a counterfeit tag, the town doesn't have to spend the resources to prove that they're actually guilty. They just, by association, you're now guilty. Therefore, it makes it administratively convenient for us. Normally, I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem when that easy administrative route now starts to impact the reputation of somebody in the community that is now put with that stigma of, I've been found guilty of camouflage or of counterfeiting, even though I may not, I have been a victim of this particular thing. So I think there can be rules that are put in place that can find that balance between making sure that the town is able to enforce while not hitting residents who unknowingly buy some bag tags because they have to fill up at the end of the year and happen to get a counterfeit one. So I'm just not sure that this bylaw does that. With regard to limits, I would go with something like, okay, what is the, oh no, I'm having a hard time just understanding where the abuse comes on limits. I have 22 trees on my property, but I take them all to the dump. I don't use the service. So I think that you're always going to have individuals that may abuse the system. And I think that is going to be a pain for the municipality, but we have to make sure that the 95 or 99% of people that are using it properly aren't going to be hit by this stuff. And that's my concern with this and the way the bylaw has sort of unfolded. So that's.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Shank. Is there anything else? Seeing none. Thank you, Tony. It's always good to see you. And I know there's a bylaw later on in the agenda that we can have further discussion if need be. So we'll look for a motion that council note and receive the deputation from Tony Belisavage. Moved by Councillor Davey, second by Councillor Hicks. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next up, we have correspondence items on the agenda, which I don't believe we have any. Unfinished business, which we don't have any. It gets us right into the administrative consent agenda. First matter up is the council minutes for the regular session of council, February 10th, 2026. Is there anything in those minutes anyone has any questions or comments about? Seeing none. Committee minutes, Waste Diversion Committee. Is there anything in those minutes that anyone has any questions or comments about? And I'll give an opportunity for Councillor Martin. You're good? Perfect. Correspondence for information items on dated February 24th, 2026. Is there anything in that correspondence of information that anybody has any questions or comments or would like to speak to? Seeing none. Proclamation, National Epilepsy Awareness Day. Is there anyone that would like to speak or make any comments with respect to that proclamation? Seeing none. The 2025 Annual Statement of Council Remuneration and Expenses. Is there anything in that report anyone had any comments or questions about? Seeing none. Growth and Infrastructure, Environmental Services, 2026 Water Meter Purchase. Is there anything in that report that anyone had any questions or comments about? Seeing none. Executive Services, 2026 Post-Municipal By-Election Accessibility Report. Is there anything in that report anyone had any questions or comments or anyone would like to highlight? Seeing none. Parks, Recreation and Culture amend bylaw number 2023-0066 to license refreshment vehicles. Is there anything in that report that anyone had any questions or comments about? Seeing none. The activity report for the fire department, February 24th, 2026. Anything in that activity report that anyone has any questions about or anything that the chief can clarify? Seeing none. Parks, Recreation and Culture activity report. Is there anything in that activity report that anyone had any comments about or questions? Seeing none. Growth and Infrastructure activity report. Anything in that activity report anyone had any questions or comments about? Seeing none. Activity report, Executive Services, February 2026. Anything in that report that anyone had any questions or would like to highlight? Seeing none. Financial Services and IT Services, February 26. Anything in that activity report that anyone had any questions or comments about? And finally, the Access E11 report for January 2026. Is there anything in that report that anyone had any questions or would like to highlight? Councillor Shank.
I have one question. We received an email from Mike Bradley of the city of Sarnia. Remember that about a delegation of authority and some of the problems that they have. Could we bring that up at another day? Or I thought it was a very good email that Mike Bradley had sent. I don't know. It's up to you.
That's in our correspondence, I think, this evening, isn't it, Madam Clerk? If I'm not mistaken. I'm just trying to go from memory here. I haven't got it right in front of me.
Sorry, through your worship, I'll check. It may have been in the correspondence that has recently come around and would be on the next meeting agenda.
Yeah, now that you mentioned, I think it did. I think it came out after the agenda was published. So it'll be in the next meeting there, Mike, so we can pull it out and have a chat with that. So
As long as that one wasn't forgotten, that was good. Thanks.
yeah, I know. I think absolutely, Madam Clerk. It came in after the agenda was published, so it'll get picked up in the next meeting. So great. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that council consent to the approval of the following routine items. The minutes of the regular session of council dated February 10, 2026 be adopted as presented. The draft waste diversion committee minutes, February 18th, 2026 be received for information. That the correspondence for information items dated February 24th, 2026 be received. The council endorsed the proclamation request for National Epilepsy Awareness Day that council received for information. The Financial and IT Services 2025 Annual Statement and Council Remuneration and Expenses Report. The council received for information the Growth and Infrastructure Environmental Services 2026 Water Meter Purchase Report, and further that council approves the single sourcing bulk order of water meters from Evans Utility Municipal Product Supply Limited at a total cost of $47,382.51. That council received for information the Executive Services 2026 Post-Municipal Bylaw Accessibility Report. That council received for information the Parks, Recreation and Culture Amend Bylaw number 2023-0066 to Licensed Refreshment Vehicles Report, and that the activity reports for growth and infrastructure, Executive Services, Parks, Recreation and Culture, Fire Department, and Financial and IT Services for the month of February 2026, and the E11 Access E11 report for January 2026, items 9.10 through 9.15 be received for information. Moved by Councillor Shank, seconded by Councillor Davey. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Gets us right into items for consideration. Parks, Recreation and Culture, Town Hall Procurement Strategy. And I think, Mr. Brown's, are you going to lead or start, Chris?
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. With me is Troy, our procurement coordinator. He might be able to assist me with some questions that you may have. This report comes to you tonight as more of information. We wanted to really hone in on our procurement strategy for the Town Hall and Market Square project here, and give you an opportunity to ask questions and voice any concerns that you may have, just so everyone is on the same page moving forward. So with the work plans to redevelop Town Hall, town staff are now at a point where we will procure the services required to design and construct the new community space inside our historic Town Hall. Along with the interior renovation of the main floor, staff will also move ahead with the design and construction of a covered structure for market activities in partnership with the Rotary Club of Napanee. So cooperative purchasing, also known as group purchasing or joint procurement, lets public agencies use contracts set up by a lead agency or cooperative group. The Town of Greater Napanee is a member of the following cooperative purchasing organizations: Kinetic GPO, Canoe Procurement Group of Canada, and the OACM. Through these memberships, the town can access pre-established contracts, reduce procurement timelines, and secure competitive pricing without issuing its own full tender process for every purchase or every phase of a project. Cooperative purchasing is permitted under the town's updated procurement bylaw, and it has been a successful venture for town staff in past projects as well. Just some benefits to highlight of cooperative purchasing. Cost savings is a big one. Faster procurement and expedited timelines, which really suits this project ahead of us. Procurement compliance and risk reduction. Access to high quality vendors and pre-negotiated terms. Operational efficiency. One of the programs offered through cooperative purchasing is called job order contracting. With job order contracting, organizations avoid the administrative expense of sending every single stage of a multi-phase project out to bid. So job order contracting really suits our needs on this project, because it is multiple phase with multiple different trades involved. This is what we think is the best solution moving forward. Job order contracting is an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity construction procurement method that allows organizations to complete multiple repair, renovation, and construction projects under a single competitively awarded contract. Instead of bidding each project separately, work is issued through an individual job order, significantly reducing procurement time. The JOC program pricing is based on a pre-established unit price book that includes thousands of construction tasks with locally adjusted prices. Contractors competitively bid an adjustment factor or coefficient that is applied to those unit prices, creating transparent, audible, and predictable project costs. I had an image that I wanted to share with council and the community, but it didn't seem to come through on when I published the agenda. So I just wanted to speak to that a little bit. So the job order process starts with project identification. It then moves into a joint site visit and joint scope, followed by the contractor preparing a cost estimate or a proposal for the owner. The owner then reviews that proposal and asks questions, makes modifications. Then the owner and contractor review and they develop a schedule. They finalize and submit a firm price, and then the owner would issue a job order. The job order and delivery and project execution would follow, followed by a job order closeout where you would sign off on the project. So I will share that job flow with council because it didn't come through on the agenda. Alternatively, of course, we could do standard procurement for this project where staff would issue public tenders for all different stages of the project. It could be conducted, however, staff believe that this will significantly slow the process down, extend those timelines further out, and ultimately lead to higher costs for the project. All price proposals will be reviewed by staff and presented back to council for approval before any job orders are issued. So every stage of the way, anytime there's going to be a money spend, that proposal will come back to council and we will obviously discuss that and council will approve that moving forward. Just want to make that perfectly clear. Obviously, the legislative implications, the wording of the cooperative purchasing from our bylaw is there in the agenda. And just lastly, on next steps, timelines. So design and engineering phase will begin immediately with joint scope meetings at the site for those involved to discuss the project and design details. This is kicking off the design build right off the hop, and it doesn't require us to create a scope for design, tender that out, wait a month for submissions, review the submissions, score the submissions, bring it back. And then that would just get you a design architect. That design architect would have to provide about a 500-page spec report that anyone coming in after would have to be able to read and understand to build what they have designed. And so the beauty of this is that the people designing are the same people that are going to be building it. And so it's all just really flow nicely. We're going to be breaking the project up into different phases. And the first phase is going to be design and engineering, not only for the inside, but also for out back where the covered structure will be. After those phases are complete, we'll bring a price proposal back to council to make sure that what we are proposing to build and design is it aligns with council's wishes, and then we would move forward into a construction phase. If I've missed anything, Troy, you're happy to jump in, but otherwise happy to take questions from council.
Great, thanks, Chris. Is there anything you want to add, Troy? If not, we'll see what council, see what questions they have.
No, I'm good, Your Worship.
Great, thank you. Council, do you have any questions or comments for either? Go ahead, Councillor Shank.
So Troy, Chris, when you put, I understand that you're going to have one main contractor that's going to be doing it all, but the point is it's still open for contractors in the local areas? We have some excellent contractors that could probably design, build, this whole system, and, some are in one trade, but they know all the other trades because they all work together to the same thing. So they're still eligible to also to put in a design and pricing of the whole job too, are they? Because they're not just with Kinetic, GPO, or Canoe procurement or any of that. I'd just like to have somebody local fix your local. They'd have a little bit more pride, you know what I mean? Rather than just a dollar and figure thing.
Correct. And through Your Worship to Councillor Shank, absolutely. One thing that we stress with these job order contractors is we promote local contractors and we continue to promote them. So we actually urge contractors locally to work with some of these programs to build their business as well and to utilize this program for us as well. We utilize this program on the front steps that we did, and one of the contractor that led that was Belcon, who is a local one out of Belleville. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I believe there was local Napanee contractors that were involved with like some concrete and stuff like that as well. So they were all involved with that as well.
Thanks, Councillor Shank. Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, Worship. Just further to what Councillor Shank said, it's important that the local businesses join canoe procurement, and it's not, this isn't posted on an open website and people submit their bids. They have to be a part of the procurement group. So I just wanted to make that very clear for anyone watching as well. But my original question, we're doing both at the same time, which I know is going to save us some time and money. And it's also probably going to tie the aesthetic in better, the inside as well as the back, and then eventually the front exterior. The priority will be the interior based on the fundraising efforts of the Rotary Club, who is also a partner on the exterior covered market, right?
Yeah, through your worship. So we will do the design and engineering all at the same time. What's really important for the Rotary Club of Napanee is that we get design, some renderings so that they can start promoting what it's going to be and really hit the fundraising campaign. We will be prioritizing the construction phase inside first. Part of that is because we think the timing of the market season, we don't want to disrupt them and we don't want to displace the market. It's obviously gaining ground and doing really well, and we want to keep that momentum moving forward. In a perfect world, which we don't always live in, we would be able to start the construction this year inside here of Town Hall, and then we would move out to start the construction phase outside as soon as the market season ends in early October.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation, Council receive for information, the Parks, Recreation and Culture Town Hall Procurement Strategy Report. Moved by Councillor Shank, second by Councillor Davey. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed, motion's carried. Next matter, excuse me, Executive Services Trail Development Advisory Committee, and I think, Mr. Grant, you're going to speak to that. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Grant.
Thank you, Your Worship. So through you, Your Worship, to members of council, what the report you have before you is a recommendation to strike a Trails Development Advisory Committee. This is very much in line with the recommendations that we received from the Ad Hoc Committee on Trails. And so in a mandate letter to them, should council choose to go in this direction, what we'd be asking this committee to do is to make recommendations on the types of amenities to be included with the in-town trail development, whether that be, lighting, benches, and the like. Make recommendations to town council on how best to promote the use of in-town trails. And should there be a request from council through resolution, advise on plans to connect Greater Napanee to the Cataraqui Trail and Strathcona. Within the report, you'll see a number of recommendations, including the retirement of the Ad Hoc Committee on Trails. That committee has fulfilled its mandate. They have made the recommendations to council which have been adopted. The in-town trails are in the budget. And they have made recommendations on connecting routes for council's consideration to the Strathcona Trail the Cataraqui Trail in Strathcona. So that work has been concluded. This trail committee would focus on the development. We are asking that council endorse the mandate letter, that they endorse the draft committee terms of reference, and that they direct staff to proceed with recruitment of new trail advisory committee in line with the town's advisory committee bylaw as soon as possible, given that council has recently given the direction that all work plans for advisory committees are to be concluded by the end of April. So there would be some work to do ahead of them to provide recommendations, or at least lay out their plan for that and have that adopted by you. Because following April 30th, town council will not be considering new recommendations, given that we're headed towards election season. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that members of council may have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Is there any questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Calver.
Thank you, through your worship. So I do agree with this new committee, 100%. But I'm also thinking that we probably should wait. I mean, by the time we get this done, we're into end of February now, be March, got to have everything in by April 30th. That's a pretty short window to anybody to make any kind of decisions or plans. I like the idea. We're still going to continue with the in-town trails because that's already been discussed and budgeted for. But I think that we should take option 2, that wait until the new term of council begins, because it's usually a 4-year term. So, I don't know, just my thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Calver. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, through your worship. Just to clarify, since that was my report at the last meeting, we're not looking for the committees to have concluded all of their recommendations by April 30th, just that they commit to saying these are the areas we will give recommendations to council in, and nothing outside of that, like no new changes to the mandate letters or new proposals that sort of come out of nowhere as a surprise to everyone. So the committee could meet once and say, yes, we agree that what we're going to work on is these things laid out in the mandate letter, and that would be sufficient. If there was anything else outside of that mandate letter that they wanted to plan to bring forward to council during the year, then they would need to decide that in fairly quick turnaround. I just wanted to clarify that it's not our expectation that committees be done making recommendations on April 30th, just that they agree to the areas that their recommendations will remain focused on.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anything else? And thank you, Madam Clerk, for the clarification. And just to clarify, there is sufficient time to do what we need to do prior to April 30th as far as mandates and terms of reference and all that kind of stuff.
So through your worship, if this was approved by council tonight, we would aim to put out the call for applications tomorrow. We'd aim to have a fairly short recruitment window and have council review any applications at the March 24th meeting, which would, if the members could all get organized in short order, potentially allow for a meeting to be called before April 15th, but it would be very tight to do that.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Calver.
Thank you, through your worship. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a pretty tight timeline we've got. I didn't know whether we wanted to rush this or not, but we'll go with the will of council. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anything else? Councilor Hicks.
If the timelines, sorry, through you, your worship, if the timelines are tight, I would not be averse to having a brief meeting before the 24th in order to put this to bed so that people could get working on it. If the timing, if the applicants are all in and everything, because it's something that we could then take off of the 24th agenda. If it's an hour to review the applicants and approve the committee members. Just a thought. Thank you.
Mr. Grant.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I think also the time, just to clarify, the timelines will be tight for recommendations to come forward. I don't anticipate that the town will be in a position to make any purchases or install any amenities from said recommendations, because 26 is trail development alone. So clearing, brushing, laying down the gravel. We anticipate to have that done by the end of the calendar year. But these particular amenities would be purchased and installed at a later date. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear.
And of course, that stuff would have to be budgeted in 2027, I guess. Okay, perfect. Counselor Shank.
So Matthew, so therefore this committee would go ahead and discuss still, the in-town, have a talking with Chris to say, hey, you know what, this is what, if we want to have a turn left or a turn right or go through here or go through there or anything else, like they're going to still have input. It's just that anything financially or anything else like that past a certain date that but they're still going to have say of what's being constructed, how it's going to be constructed, what we can do, what we can't do, for the 2027 budget, correct?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, yes. And what I would anticipate is if they can put some recommendations into council about what they might need. So I'm thinking staff time. If they could ballpark, here are the people we're going to need to talk to. These are the things that we're going to need. This is the staff time we're looking to draw upon. And a lot of that would be Chris's time, our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture. And then that would certainly come forward to a 27 budget submission. But it would be clarifying their work plan in advance to give those recommendations in the budget process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what do I want?
The only reason why is I don't want to have people think that, oh, no sense putting my name in, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because what the heck, it's just a short time, but people have still have that interest. No, it's not going to be forgotten. Yes, you still have a say. And yes, we value your input. I just want to make that clip and clear that, all right, or else we wouldn't have the fine Councillor Davey here. He would have said, the heck with it, I'll wait till the fall. But he wanted to jump in the way we went. So that's what I don't want to diminish.
So with that, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Shank, I would use the ad hoc committee on trails as the example for this. So that committee met. Now the timelines weren't short, but that committee met. They submitted their recommendations to the budget process. That was adopted and will be implemented and now represents standing direction for staff to complete the construction of the in-town trails this year. I would anticipate the Trail Development Committee would be something similar where those recommendations would come forward and be included in the budget proposal.
Councillor Hicks.
So what I'm thinking is this is the year where they determine what style of bench would be best and how many benches are needed and how many meters apart they should be and the light standards if we're having lighting along the rail bed portion of the trail. How many trees do we want planted? What kind of trees? Ergo, the resolution letter to Quinte Conservation. So let's get a partnership going there. So our portion is going to be $10,000. Those are the things that I'm looking for and what's outlined in the mandate letter. Those are the things that I'm thinking will be worked on in 2026 so that staff has a budget number for 2027. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that council receive. The Executive Services Trail Development Advisory Committee report that council adopt the recommendation of the ad hoc committee on trails as the town's official position on the new trail development, including the sequencing of efforts where in-town trails receive immediate priority and is followed by a review of the plans for a trail connection to Strathcona when available. That with the adoption of the stated recommendations that council consider the work of the ad hoc committee on trails complete with all further efforts to be undertaken by the Trails Development Advisory Committee, that council endorse the draft Trail Development Advisory Committee mandate letter as presented, that council endorse the draft committee terms of reference as presented, that council directs staff to proceed with the recruitment of the new Trail Development Advisory Committee through a process that adheres to the town's advisory committee bylaw. Moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Shank. Is there any further comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion's carried, and we're right on our time to take our administrative break, so we'll take 10 minutes. We'll see you back about 20 to 9. Perfect. Welcome, welcome everyone, and thank you for your indulgence. Moving on through our agenda, we have financial and IT services 2025, 2026 fiscal year municipal auditors, and Ms. Hamill, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm here this evening to request from council support to extend our arrangement with KPMG to utilize their auditing services for the 2025 and 2026 fiscal year. So currently, we had a bylaw in place that just had them in place for the 2024 year. But as you're all aware, we have made some great progress with KPMG over the last couple of years. And if we were to change municipal auditors for 2025 and 2026 fiscal, I believe that we would have the potential to be taking a small step backwards. It would take a lot of time and resources to reassociate a new firm with our books. KPMG has been an incredible support through this over the last couple of years. They've put a lot of time and resources into our file and have been guiding us in the right direction and providing kind of some great next steps on how we can continue to improve our reporting for 2025 and 2026. So that is my request this evening. There's a lot more detail in the report, but just in summary, as I'd said, we're making some really great progress with KPMG, and I would love to be able to continue the work with them for our audits for 2025 and 2026. After that, we would certainly be going to an RFP for our municipal auditing services. We would likely do that in late 2026, early 2027, and I expect that would probably be a 4-year term again, just to have some consistency with auditors year over year. There really is a lot of benefits that you can see with using any municipal auditing firm for a few years in a row rather than kind of flip-flopping back and forth every couple of years. So we would be going to RFP in late 26, early 27. But for now, I would love it if council could support continuing our relationship with them for the 2025 and 2026 fiscal years.
Great. Thanks, Ellen. Councillor Norrie.
I move staff recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Norrie, and Deputy Mayor Calver.
I'll second that, and I fully agree. You, your staff, and KPMG have brought this municipality a long way, so I would strongly support that recommendation.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Deputy Mayor, and appreciate that. Yeah, we've come a long way, and they don't want to lose that momentum, so I think it's a good idea, and thank you for that presentation. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that council receive for information the financial and IT services 2025-2026 fiscal year municipal auditors report, and further that council direct staff to bring back a bylaw to appoint KPMG as the municipal auditors for the 2025 and 2026 fiscal years. We have a mover and a seconder, Madam Clerk. If there's nothing further, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? The motion is carried.
Thank you.
Next matter, growth and infrastructure, Habitat for Humanity Deputation report. And Mr. Nanton, I think you're going to speak to that one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to council. So following the deputation that was provided on December 19th, 2025 to council by Habitat for Humanity, council directed staff to prepare and bring back a report to review the financial implications of the contributions requested. Just to provide a quick little bit of context, so for ease of reference, that deputation related to a residential development proposal for a vacant town-owned property that's situated on Church Street, just south of the intersection of Church and County Road 1. And that was to establish 6 units within a triplex using pre-approved CMHC building plans. The formal details are also attached to the council agenda for ease of reference. So while the staff report goes into details for all the contributions that are that were requested through that deputation, I'm going to try and highlight and summarize some of the key findings. So the 5 contributions that were requested from town to support the proposal were covering the cost to bring municipal services to the property line, the land transfer itself, potential flow through municipal funding, effectively $50,000 per unit created, and exemptions from development charges, imposed fees and taxes, and building permits. So just going in list from 1 through 5. So with respect to bringing municipal services to the property line, it was confirmed that extensions and improvements to services would be required. with consideration for construction management, traffic, roadway removal and restoration, and improvements and extensions. The order of magnitude estimate prepared was $235,750 to cover these works. With respect to the land transfer, the town's agent of record, believes the lot would generally bring about a sale price of $110,000. So this would be lost revenue if gifted. With respect to funding streams, so as outlined in the report, housing programs are managed on behalf of the county through PELZ, and we have no town funding streams to provide. With respect to the contribution request per unit, that would translate to $300,000 requested from the town to be reinvested in other projects. The project being an affordable housing project would be exempt from DC fees. Building permit fees, if waived, would translate to approximately $12,000. That's kind of an estimate just to kind of help round out the analysis. So collectively, the contributions sought from the town translated to $659,000 and $659,750, pardon me. The report, if taken into consideration, the land transfer technically could come at no direct cost to the town. I recommended and just noted in the staff report that figure translates to a real world cost of $547,750 to support the development of 6 new affordable houses in the community. The town is not budgeted for this requested expenditure. Any commitment to meet the requests would proceed in an unfunded manner until appropriate funding is identified and applied. So again, to reiterate, the request made to the town related to present costs of just under $550,000. Gifting of the town of lands would also stand kind of in opposition to the efforts that have been made over the past period to identify surplus land holdings that could be used to offset town liabilities. While staff are supportive of developing affordable housing within the municipality, it's the opinion that the contributions requested to establish these units represent a considerable cost. With that in mind, staff are not recommending council provide the contributions sought from Habitat for Humanity. However, are recommending that council waive the requirements of Section 14C of the land sale bylaw, that being for a competitive land sale process, to offer the first right of refusal to Habitat for Humanity to purchase the lands at a fair market value. This would effectively exercise a hold on the land that they could acquire, kind of balancing that opportunity for them on the site while also protecting the town's financial interests. I'm happy to discuss the recommendations of the staff report or address any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanton. Is there any questions or comments with respect to Mr. Nanton's presentation of the report that's in front of us? Yep, Councillor Shank, go ahead.
David, I totally agree with your report. Like anybody here, we would love nothing better to help individuals, all right? But the point is the budget constraints that we are already currently under. And when you have 3.1% of fixed costs that we have out of the 5.8, so we ourselves are only at 2.7. But you're talking another $600,000. And 1% raises what, 140, 150,000, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure again. But all I'm saying is I'd love nothing but help. We just don't have, we can't, you know what I mean? Financially, we just cannot. We're on the right track of what we're doing. It's just that at this time, I just can't physically do this when you already have a budget already passed and we had none of this here. So, sorry, but I'll move staff recommendation.
Great, thank you. Councillor Shank, and you'll put that by way of motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Davey, is there any further comments or questions or concerns with respect to the motion that's on the floor? Or go ahead, Councillor Hicks.
Through you, Your Worship. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the gentleman's name, and I can't have a discussion with you because I'll get in trouble because you're not at the table. But I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Calvert, as far as PELZ goes, does this fit within their mandate for affordable housing? And is it something that you could bring up at the next meeting regarding Habitat for Humanity? Because if I'm not mistaken, in 2023 2025, the contribution to the county was $13 million. Is that right? Do I remember that number correctly? And a large portion of that was directed towards social services, which is affordable housing.
Yeah, I can't remember that number, Counselor Hicks, but it's ringing a bell. It would be in that neighborhood, I think, so.
I didn't look it up, but as I was reading this, rereading it tonight, it seems to me that there should be some way that Pellis could perhaps investigate a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, as that's their actual mandate through the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Hicks. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Calver.
Thank you. Actually, the county had tried to build something here at one point. They were looking for some land. They actually made a deal with Loyalist this go around. In the past, Pellis has made they've done housing in Stone Mills. They're working on a unit down in Loyalist right now. And yes, this is something that Habitat Humanity might want to go to Pellis with. But yeah, I'll bring it up and see what they've got to say. But I know there's already something on the go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Counselor Hicks. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Calver. Is there anything else? Counselor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it is disappointing that we can't accommodate Habitat for Humanity, because it is a certainly a good project, and I know from firsthand it's worthwhile. But as we witnessed tonight, we've had people come forward looking for an indoor dome. We have people that want an in-ground pool, and we this year we're funding the in-town trail. It'd be nice if we could do all of our wants and needs, but we just simply can't. So, but it is unfortunate. I think it's a worthwhile cause. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Counselor Martin. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a motion on the floor that council receive for information the growth and infrastructure Habitat for Humanity Deputation report, and further that council not grant the requested contributions as requested through the deputation provided on December 9, 2025, and further that council waive the requirements of section 14C of the land sale bylaw for a competitive land sale process and offer the first right of refusal to Habitat for Humanity for purchase of the lands at fair market value. Motion's on the floor. If there's nothing further, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion that's on the floor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next matter is growth and infrastructure, PLZACO 2025-060-237 Newburgh Road. And Mr. Nanton, you're going to speak to that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you again to council. So the application submitted by Palace Childcare Limited for the property along Newburgh Road has been submitted with the intent to permit a daycare center on the vacant property. The application was brought to a statutory public meeting on February 10th, 2026. No concerns, comments of concern were received at that meeting or in the period leading to this evening's meeting. As discussed in detail through the staff report. So again, the intent of the application is to establish a site-specific community facility zone that will permit the daycare center and establish site-specific zone provisions. There are some areas of relief sought through the application. Those include several for the parking area layout. So there's just a couple to highlight. So minimum standards sought include permitting a minimum number of parking spaces to be 21, to permit compact parking spaces to be slightly under our minimum size through the zoning bylaw, a minimum of 6 large vehicles parking spaces on the site, as well as reduction of the parking space to adjacent properties, and permitting offsite parking to be slightly beyond what our zoning bylaw considers being 175 meters and increasing that to 300. Just to kind of formalize just the remaining relief requested. So planting strip requirements are being reduced, and that's intended just to facilitate screening and privacy fencing between the parking area and adjacent lots, ensuring functionality, minimizing some of the light pollution that can bleed over. And then some yard setbacks as well, just reducing the rear yard and side yard setbacks that aren't intended to have any negative impacts on those properties. I'm also proposing staff at this level, holding symbol to be applied, to be lifted upon the execution of a site plan agreement. This is just recommended because we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to really thoroughly look at the layout and the functionality. Daycare centers are really needed in the community and in lots of communities, but it is very important given the use that we get it right and that it functions and that it's safe. So while the application does seek relief in several areas to accommodate the preliminary design, the submission has demonstrated viability of the use on the lands. We also believe that there's opportunities to enhance the functionality, specifically the parking and access and egress to the site. No public comments of concern were received for the application, so we believe the site in question is appropriate and can accommodate it. The town and county reviewed the stormwater management report prepared. No concerns were raised. The traffic brief prepared in support, also reviewed by the town and county. Provided some commentary, specifically the county requesting some comments and conditions that would be addressed through site plan control, mostly related to their 1-foot reserves and obtaining a entrance permit. Staff are of the opinion that the viability has been demonstrated. Town departments are in support and principle of the project, and the site plan control process again will result in refinements to the plan, which ensure compliance and good development outcomes are achieved. It's the opinion of staff, zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the PPS and the applicable official plans and will serve to protect, good community outcomes. We are recommending approval as presented through the bylaw. I'm available for questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanton. Is there any questions or comments with respect to, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Cower.
Thank you, through your worship. So still have an issue with the parking. You're saying they can seek relief parking up to 300 meters away. Are we setting a precedence for this type of thing? I mean, we're constantly extending, we have rules and bylaws in place for what's allowed for parking, but 300 meters, that's almost a half a kilometer. It's a long ways away for somebody to have to walk if they want to walk. I'm just really concerned about the parking aspect of it. I don't have a problem with the bylaw change. It's just trying to put a lot on a little spot. Every time I go up, I've been up there twice now in the last week, kind of just eyeballing this and looking at the plan, and it's just not clicking with me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and through you, Mayor. The 300 meters was delineated to provide an opportunity for, there was a verbal commitment made by Palace Childcare Limited. I had some concerns about functionality at peak times. So there's kind of a surge rate that can happen at drop off and pickup. And how are we going to accommodate that? How's that going to function? So one of the solutions that was discussed and committed to in writing was that they would provide, they would obtain offsite parking. There's a church that's just under 300 meters to the east of the site, northeast of the site, that can be accessed from like a sidewalk leading to the gravel road that leads up to it. It's a Monday to Friday operation. This might offer a good compatible leasing arrangement. I mean, I can't speak for both parties, but between that and then heading west, there's a couple commercial lots that could also be entertained within 300 meters. So I just wanted to provide that flexibility. So through site plan, we can arrive at something, and that would be specific just for the staff and complement to use the sidewalks that are available to and from work.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Calver. Is there anything else? We do have a recommendation that council received for information of growth and infrastructure PLZACO 2025-060 report. Further that, as the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms with the Lansing County official plan and the Town of Greater Napanee official plan, implements appropriate land use permissions and controls through the implementing zoning bylaw amendment, and constitutes good land use planning, that council approve the zoning bylaw amendment. Moved by Councillor Davey, second by Councillor Shank. Is there any further comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Growth and infrastructure, PLZACO 2026-004, Town Housekeeping Amendment. And Mr. Nanton, you're going to speak to that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. So as spoken to at the statutory public meeting earlier this evening, staff prepared a detailed report to consider the town-initiated zoning bylaw amendment to permit the use of a data processing center in the general industrial zone and establish a new definition of the use in the zoning bylaw. The staff report worked to provide a detailed review of the policy framework and the appropriateness of permitting this use in the general industrial zone, while also alluding to how land use compatibility and appropriate land use development outcomes are going to be sought and achieved through site plan control, which is going to be required before any of these uses can become operational. So we're looking at this application from a technical merit and believe it is appropriate to be approved. I am available for questions or comments. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Nanton. Is there any comments or questions or concerns with respect to the report of the presentation from Mr. Dan this evening? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation the council receive for information, the Growth and Infrastructure PLZACO 2026-004 report, and further that as the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms with the Langston County official plan and the Town of Greater Napanee official plan, implements appropriate land use permissions and controls through the implementing zoning bylaw amendment, and constitutes good land use planning, the council approved the zoning bylaw amendment. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, second by Councillor Norrie. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Executive Services Draft Delegation of Authority bylaw recommendation. And Madam Clerk, when you get settled in, the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just as some background or additional context for this report, as previously stated, it is staff's intention that once this bylaw framework is in place, the operating default will become any items not listed in this bylaw as having been delegated must be brought to council for a decision. Broadly in the categories of spending or using public dollars or other public assets, such as using town staff or equipment towards a non-budgeted purpose, disposing of public assets, providing special consideration, approving a permit or an application, or denying a service or a permit. This is why you see quite an extensive, lengthy list of items listed in the appendices to this bylaw. We are trying to make sure we've covered everything because if it's not in there, it has to come here. Matters that will remain at the staff level, even if they're not listed in this bylaw, are normal operations through the implementation of the service level. So as an example, council has set a service level now that every soccer field will be mowed to a height of 3 inches every 5 to 7 days during our peak season. So it will be up to the director to determine how that happens, the order, the schedule. Now that council has set that standard, he would not be coming back here to ask you which order you would like the soccer fields mowed in, even though it's not in this bylaw. Just to clarify how that is going to work. So we do have a detailed draft framework for your consideration. The report highlights some of the areas that staff believe are of interest to council, but we are happy to talk about any piece of it. I do want to specifically highlight there are 3 items in Schedule B related to finance for policies that are pending. We're planning to present those to you on March 10th. If you have any specific concerns with those, we're happy to take that feedback now or at that meeting. And if those policies don't end up being passed before this bylaw comes back, we would take them out and wait and catch them in the next 6-month review. So happy to discuss this. Anything you'd like more information about, either as a staff report or just comments from staff who are here.
Great, thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any questions or comments with respect to the reports in front of us or Madam Clerk's presentation? Councillor Shank.
Schedule B, finance, value over 50,000. So what stops an individual coming in at 49,900, then coming back in another 49,900? I'm not saying that I've never seen this in the past, but I have. So I just want to make sure that we still have care and control here.
I think Ms. Hamill will be able to answer that question for you. So go ahead, Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so that's, we speak to that in the procurement bylaw. It's called contract splitting and it's strictly prohibited within that. So you're not allowed to contract split to get below the threshold for procurement purposes.
So if somebody does that, they will be hung.
I don't think, Councillor Shank, I don't think we can use that, but I think they can kick apples. Is that what you're getting to? Thank you.
Yeah, we'll use a little bit of different terminology, but yes, the short version is so, yes. Thank you, Councillor Shank. Thank you, Ms. Hamel. Is there anything else? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that council receive for information the Executive Services Draft Delegation of Authority Bylaw Report and further that council provide staff direction with respect to the.
Yeah, so through your worship, I
sorry.
am specifically looking to know if council is happy with this, you'd like to see it come for adoption as written. Do you want to kick this over for a couple of weeks to think about it? Do you want to see any staff reports on any of the items in here? Yeah, we do need some direction on this one tonight.
I'm not hearing any resistance to it, Jess, but I'll listen to council. So Councillor Shank, then I'll go to Councillor Hicks.
So Jess, no, I think, and staff, I think, no, it's great. There was only a couple little things that the authority delegated by the mayor, section 17 and 18, and what we were doing. So there's standard for what it is. It just, we want to streamline the business as best as possible, still have care and control over what's being done. And I think that's what is being done here, is that instead of delaying a process that can be done more efficiently, all right, it's granting the approvals where it should be done. So you're streamlining the process. So if somebody's asking for something, that they don't have to wait another 2.5 weeks before council sits or whatever. So those minor things, I think very much so, but at the same time, you're still keeping care and control of all the other things. So that's my thought process. So no, it's a good document. I think it's definitely, setting the rules of what we can do and what we can't do. And it makes it clear to all the staff of what's allotted within their parameters.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's exactly what I was thinking. So Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, through your worship. So I read the entire thing and I can't find anything that's missing, except for the one item I did mention earlier, which will be taken care of. So, yeah, I can't see where anything needs to be improved.
Great, thanks, Ange. Is there anything else? Seeing none, so I guess the second part of that resolution is that council directs staff to bring forward a draft bylaw as presented for adoption at a future meeting. Would that be correct, Madam Clerk?
Sounds good to me. And thank you so much, council, for your support on this.
Perfect. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Davey, seconded by Councillor Hicks. Is there any further comments, questions, or concerns? All in favor of the motions on the floor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Bylaws. The first bylaw we'll deal with is to amend a bylaw number 2023-0066, being a bylaw to license refreshment vehicles. Look for a motion to put it on the floor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Hicks. Ready first, second, and finally passed this 24th day of February 2026. All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next one, bylaw number 2026-0023, to regulate the use of waste management system. We'll look for a motion to put it on the floor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Martin. Ready first. And I think at this point, I'll let Madam Clerk address some of the concerns that we heard earlier this evening. So when you're ready, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I did just want to clarify for council and the public's awareness that council does have in place a bylaw enforcement standards policy that applies to every enforcement bylaw in the municipality that states how our enforcement staff will interact with residents when a bylaw violation occurs. And it is very much an education first approach. If it is a first offense, it is always an educational conversation, if at all possible. And we do only escalate to utilizing fines when other informal resolution efforts have failed. So I did just want to make that clear, and that is council's policy to amend as they see fit at any point in time. And it will apply to this bylaw just as it applies to all of our other enforcement bylaws.
Great. I appreciate that, Jess. That clarifies. I know it helps us clarify some of the stuff that we heard earlier this evening. So we've got a first reading. If there's nothing further, we'll look for a second reading. And finally passed this 24th day of February 2026. All in favor of the motions on the floor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Bylaw number 2026-0024 to amend zoning bylaw 22, PLZACO 2025. Motion to put it on the floor, moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Hicks. Ready first, second, and finally passed this 24th day of February, 2026. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And finally, bylaw number 2026-0025 to amend zoning bylaw 02-22 PLZACO 2026-004. Motion to put it on the floor, moved by Councillor Martin, second by Deputy Mayor Calver. Ready first, second, and finally passed this 24th day of February, 2026. All in favor of the motion that's on the floor? Opposed? Motion's carry. Information reports from members. Do any members have any reports? Any information reports from members? There, I got it out. Councillor Norrie.
Just a quick reminder, Thursday, Dog Studios, the Arts Awards, limited seating. It's free admission, and we have a number of guests already coming in, so it is limited seating, but all are welcome and want to watch.
Thanks, Councillor Norrie. I know it's going to be a good event, so thanks for reminding both council and the community. Is there any other information reports from members? Councillor Martin.
I would just like to say that I want to remind people that the historical photos will be on display at the corridor of the hospital until April 10th, even though Heritage Week is going to be gone, but they're going to be in an extended time period. So they've got lots of time all through the month of March and into April if they want to go up and have a look. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Martin. And they are pretty cool. So I would encourage everybody that has the opportunity to go take a look at them. So if there's nothing else, move on to inquiries. Any inquiries? Okay, I will Councillor Norrie, then I'll go to Councillor Shank.
This is probably covered for Chris. A lot of news media showing that young girls aren't getting the hours on ice because there's not enough arenas. I'm not advocating building an arena, but are we scheduling well enough so they have equal amount of time at good hours like the boys do? Or that's just, if you have, then I'll stop.
I don't know if you can answer that tonight, Chris, but I'm pretty sure you can. But if you can't, then we'll bring it back. But if you can answer it tonight, then go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'll certainly take a look, a bit more in-depth look at that. But the Crunch organization and the Napanee Minor Hockey organization, the Raiders, and the Skating Club are our core four, and they get the sort of first crack at the puzzle that is ice scheduling. But I'll take a look at the splits just a little more in depth and then provide a report back.
Thank you. Like I say, it's a big thing in the media about the lack of place for girls. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Bob. I'll go to Councillor Shank and I'll come back over to Deputy Mayor Calver.
My inquiry is if I'd like to have a report, what our total cost is now that we did a whole year with the homeless, and this, you know what I mean, what it actually costs the municipality. All right. Now this is not factual information, but I've heard that we're possibly getting another transitional home in the community. Nobody's aware of this yet, or is not made public, and you know what I mean. So I have grave concerns. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there was $290,000 awarded as a grant. Is that correct?
To the mission?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they got $293,000. We have another transitional home. Then you, at the same time, you have, they did their remuneration here in February, I believe, the coldest month of the year. You know what I mean? That isn't one of the true figure. I can just see an avalanche going to happen this summer when that much is awarded and what we're having in another transitional home. And I'm not, if this is factual or not, but I've been told this, that even Prince Edward County is giving them taxi chips, you know what I mean? And the homeless come over here. So, I mean, we're one municipality in this whole county. So all I'm saying is the extra cost that's putting burden onto this municipality and its ratepayers. I mean, I'd like to see what that figure in, so we can apply for a grant to the County of Livingston to offset our costs, because that's not our mandate. We have people from Stone Mills, Addington Highlands, Loyalist Township, you know what I mean? So why are we, it's just like another OPP bill here. We have nothing to offset this. This isn't our mandate here for social services. That's the county. And if the county's got $13 million and if we're incurring a substantial cost that they're giving to us and giving everybody to us, and then we have to have bylaw officers picking up, needles and everything else and all what those costs are. I think we have a pretty good case that we can solicit to the county saying, hey, guys, you know what I mean? We're taking a lot of this. Got to help us out also. You know what I mean? You can't have one thing. You saw how upset they got when they had one resident living there. All right. Just imagine this summertime when you have that much awarded and how many tents are going to be given out and how many people are going to be coming out. I just want to be ahead of the curve here so we all work together and all work together with the county and see what we can come up with. You know what I mean? That's fair for the Napanee, not just, you know what I mean? If we're a part of the county, they got to help us out also here. So if we could have a case to see what our cost is, that we can apply for it, and then Brian can solicit on our behalf, and Terry as our county members, of saying, hey, come on, guys, let's just be fair. That's all.
Great, thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Mr. Grant.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, a lot in that one. So to you, Councillor Shank, it is our intention to bring forward a sort of pre-season report, so to speak, in that we would account for the coding that we put towards the actual dollars spent. We can certainly ask staff members to actually give a ballpark of staff time that goes to that, which is not inconsiderable. In terms of the transitional home you mentioned, that is my understanding. There's another transitional home going in the downtown area. And I am aware, I think at a recent Palace meeting, the decision was made not to staff transitional homes as it was deemed too expensive. So I was a bit surprised to see that, but we can certainly include our costs, our efforts, any mitigation measures that we are planning for this year, as well as the budgeted costs in this year's budget, including for cleanup and additional legal costs. And at that point, I think it would be appropriate, should it be the will of council, to determine whether or not you would like us to take further action in terms of cost recovery.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
The only reason why, Matthew, why I'm stating this is because we're all part of one big county here. So all I'm saying is it has to be fair for all parties involved. I can foresee this going to be a hardship and it's going to be another tax expense. All right. And every dollar spent comes out of our tax dollars. But I'm the first one to help our own. But when I'm helping other counties out also, and you know where they've come from, from the prison, they've come from Belleville, they came from everywhere else, there's only a certain amount of limit, and that isn't our mandate. That is the county's mandate. So we have to get something to offset us, which is their mandate, offset our expense that they're incurring. You know what I mean? Now they're trying to probably do everything that they could possibly do, but we all have to work together here to see how we can do it. And one of those steps is supposed to recognize, hey, yeah, we do have a problem here, and we're going to have to help you guys out. And if they don't help us out, then we'll know where everything, where it is. Then it's all hands off.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Calver.
Thank you, through your worship. And yeah, Councillor Shank, you're not wrong. There is occasional times where they do send by taxi from Picton into our community, but there's also a lot of times where we ship them by bus to Kingston and Belleville. So it's not just Prince Edward bringing, people into here to get the help that they need or the assistance they need, but we also ship out to other municipalities and vice versa. They bring it to us too. I don't know how we're going to possibly control all of that. I mean, maybe we should be looking at some way of, preventing these transitional housings. I don't know. It's a heck of a situation we're in all the way around. That's going to take a lot of work. And from my very first go to one of these homeless summits, my first term, I have seen zero anything happening towards it. It's just getting worse instead of better. Thank you.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
So, yeah, that's, I totally agree. You know what I mean? So it goes in and out or whatever. All I'm saying is the communication that we have to have amongst all the like, I really love to know also in this report, if the county notified you as a CAO or the chief, building official or somebody here that there's another transitional home, because they're going to be issuing the license, all right, for that transitional home or paying those individuals to have that transitional home. So where's the lack of communication now? If I don't know, I'm amazed that you guys knew about this already, but all I'm saying is, if you guys know about it, were you contacted? All right, because these are the problems that we're going to have to solve, because they can't just simply go and do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, without any notification to us, when there's going to be costing us extra money. Or else, you know what, let's do a transitional home in Loyalist, you know what I mean? Or Stone Mills, all right? Or Addington Highlands. It's just that every dollar spent is going to be coming out of the tax dollars. That's all. I'm finished with this now.
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Grant.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Shank. So short answer is no, we weren't really notified. We found out about it through other means. I think there's room to work on communication there. We weren't necessarily notified about the decision not to staff transitional homes, which I know was the #1 recommendation by all municipalities at the Housing Summit. So I'm not sure what the plan is around the concerns that were raised there. So there's certainly room for improved communication there. In terms of, and you did reference the housing enumeration, of which we've offered our support. I did raise it with the acting director of PELZ directly, that we think it's in their interest to do a summer count as well, to see what the difference might be, just to ensure we have overall confidence and we can see trends and that sort of thing. They had indicated at that time that that wasn't under consideration, but they thanked me for bringing it up.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. I'd just like to go back to something that Deputy Mayor Calvert mentioned, and that is that the Prince Edward and Lennox and Addington Social Services are putting people on buses and sending them to Belleville and Kingston. Is this somebody that's recently been released from Quinte Detention Center and has been given funds to go home, so to speak? Or are we talking about Martin's has a school bus sitting somewhere and they're loading people up? I'd just like a little more clarification on that, if you can provide it. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that and get you exact clarification on that. But at our last meeting, that's what was discussed, because I know Prince Edward County, they don't have their mission as per se like they did other years. It's just shut down to just lack of support, lack of funding, and that had come up about, they're busing people into Napanee or taking taxis into Napanee. And that's great. We're taking everybody in. And then I was informed that we're also sending out to the Kingston shelter and to the Belleville shelter when it's too full down here, when we can't get them into hotels and so on and so forth. I mean, obviously they're not leaving them out in the cold, but they are placing them. I mean, if the hotels are full and there's no room at the Mission, then they have to go to another shelter somewhere else. And that's what was explained to me, is if we're busing them out to other shelters.
Okay, so it's PELZ working in conjunction with Morning Star Mission to ensure that people who come to the Morning Star Mission for overnight shelter, if it's not available, they do everything they can to make sure that those people aren't left on the street.
Okay. That is correct.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry to labor this, sorry, Brian, but it's just, so do I get this right, that the Prince Edward County is not supporting their mission on their side? You know what I mean? Like, it's PELZ, which Prince Edward, Lennox and Addington. So they spent $293,000 in grant, all right, to Morning Star Mission, but they don't support any grant to Prince Edward County to look after their homelessness there. So we'll bring them all here, we'll supply this, and we'll send them all from Prince Edward County here. Am I reading that right?
I'm gonna have to get you more information on that, but to my knowledge, they didn't have this, that wasn't so much the financial support, they just didn't have the capability of continuing what they had over there. I believe it was a trial project, but after being away from Pellis for a year, there's a lot of things I need to get caught up on, so thank you.
Great. Thanks, Deputy Mayor Calver. Thank you, Councillor Shank. Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Go ahead, Councillor Davey.
One quick thing with the transitional housing, is there any leg to stand on as far as those having to be registered within the town? Or do they have free reign?
Yeah, no, and thanks for asking the question, Sean, because like I say, we kind of went through all this, and I think, Michael, you can comment on that, but we're going to try and get you caught up here as best we can.
Through your worship and to the all of council. Just as a refresher, we did enact a rooming house bylaw, I'll call it, for lack of a better term, which covers rooming houses predominantly in transitional housing. We're really just collecting information about where they're located predominantly, so that we're able to provide appropriate service response. We can't collect information around tenants staying at those locations, but we're at least able to have an understanding and line of sight on what is where in the town.
There's a little bit of oversight, but not much, I guess is the best way to put it, Sean. But thanks for asking the question. Is there anything else? And I know that Mr. Grant's got a bunch of work to do there. So thank you, Mr. Grant, for taking that one on. So if there's nothing else on that, we'll see. I think Deputy Mayor Calver, did you have an inquiry that you wanted to make, or was it just to respond to the other inquiry?
I did have, yes. Actually, I spoke to Mr. Nobes and sent him some pictures, and I'd just like to follow up on those pictures regarding the accessibility and transition from sidewalks to roads in a different one or two areas here in Napanee. So that's all I had for that. Thank you.
And Mr. Nobes will follow up on that and get that clarified for you. So, okay. Is there anything else before we move on to notice of motions? Seeing none, are there any notice of motions for this evening? Seeing none, announcements. Would anyone like to make any announcements this evening? Deputy Mayor Calver.
Yeah, back to the hockey. I would like to congratulate our Raiders so far. We're in the first series playing off against the Port Hope Panthers, and the team's doing amazing. They're back for game 4, I believe it is, tomorrow night at 8:30 at Best and Bash, and I invite everybody to come out and see some good hockey. It's the boys are doing good, and I think I'm feeling good about the team this year. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Deputy Mayor Calver. Are there any other announcements anyone would like to make? And I just have to, I get a little overzealous here. I missed new business, but I don't think there's any new business unless somebody's got some new business they want to speak to. If not, it gets us right into the CAO's remarks. Mr. Grant, did you have any remarks you'd like to make this evening?
Nothing for me this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you, Matthew. Next up is the forward calendar. I know we've all had an opportunity to take a look at that. Is there anything in the forward calendar that anyone would like to try and clarify or ask any questions about? Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, through you, your worship. Jessica, the municipal accommodation tax, the RFP results, have we put out the request for proposal yet? Sorry, I'm asking you, but I should be asking Ellen, I guess.
Thank you for the question. The RFP has not yet been issued. We're just finalizing the RFP itself, but we can send a note to council, let them know when that does get issued. We hope to finalize that in the next week or two.
Good enough. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Are there anything else? Seeing none, that gets us to look for, we did the forward calendar. Look for a motion to confirm, for the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the town of Greater Napanee. Moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Deputy Mayor Cower. Read a first, second, and finally passed the 24th day of February 2026. All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion is carried. And look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Deputy Mayor Cower. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks, folks. It's been another productive evening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.